Now you got 35 LPA software job at Goldman Sachs without a CS degree. How you have done it?
For getting a job at tech role, it's not a necessity to have a CS degree. The main necessity is to have knowledge of that field.
This is Palak Singh, the fresher girl who had cracked Goldman Sachs without a computer science degree. That too.
In my life, I was going to sit for a company and
She cracked in very first interview of her life. So in this video, name some top 5 courses that has a very pivotal role in getting your job.
so the first course,
Where you have learned this?
NPTEL and Coursera.
Palak reveals the courses she had taken, the projects she had done, resume, and her interview experience so that anyone who is aspiring for tech roles in big companies will get value from her journey. Hi, by the way, if you're new here, I'm Rahuram Chanthrakumar, alum of IIT Madras. Let's get started. So, Palak, thank you for joining. Now, you got 35 LPA software job at Goldman Sachs without a CS degree. How you have done it?
And for getting a job at tech role, it's not a necessity to have a CS degree. The main necessity is to have knowledge of that field, which you can get in any department.
Name some top 5 courses that you have done that has a very pivotal role in getting your job.
So the first course, learning the programming language course, the DSA in NPTEL.
Also, Palak had some courses in her college IIT Madras, but you got covered. She had shared best courses that's required that are taught by IIT professors and other reputed educators in NPTEL, Coursera and other learning platform. Check in description. Now let's hear her journey.
Then comes probability. It was a part of our electives in college.
Okay.
And then I also learned PRML, which is machine learning course. And then comes data science course, which was also one of the elective.
And like during this process, like did you face any challenges?
Challenges can be that if you're not understanding, then whom to reach out to basically clarify the query. So usually it used to be Google, I would say. Other than that, friends group. If you're studying under some prof and the professor is quite helpful, then you can get a help from there as well.
And what are all the projects that you had done from a chemical to analyst role?
One of the project which I did is in the programming club of IIT Madras. Other project was under my chemical engineering professor, under whom I took project related to coding and not related to the chemical engineering course. Even in my BTech project, I did a project in neural networks. Concept of that project was also core related, but the concept that we applied was machine learning.
Now the second question, you had attempted only one interview in your life. So what was your interview experience?
If I talk about my interview experience, so before Goldman Sachs, I had reached out to my seniors to get to know what kind of questions they focus on tests. They had few basic sections which they focused on. So I prepared those coding related programming questions. So once I got selected in interview, I had few mock rounds with my seniors. And then during the interview, basically one of the good thing was what I understood from my experiences, the interviewers never expected you to give 100% correct answer. They were just trying to see your approach, how you're trying to solve the question, and if you're going at a right track, or even if you are not, they will try to give you some hint. And are you able to catch that hint? Basically, they were quite helpful. I would say they wanted to understand your thinking and analytical skills rather than your outcome of the question. Overall, I had 2 rounds of interviews, and both of them were quite similar in this approach. And if I talk about the type of questions they asked, it was most on probability, analytical, and machine learning.
How long this interview went?
The first interview was around 45 minutes, I guess. The second interview was also around that.
Now let's quickly talk about how Palak made her resume, because resume is what sells us.
The first work in the resume was to make a format on how we will be making the resume, how the resume would be looking. And once that is ready, we have to put the actual content to it. Putting the content was also easier part because you know what you have to put. But again, forming the good sentences for each of the experiences you have gone through and what exactly you have to mention, because you are not going to write the whole story of each of the experiences you have gone through. Main broad thing you want to write for each of the things is the most important question during the resume making. So that was the most time taking thing.
Can you give a breakdown of your resume?
If I break down my resume, the first section would be education. I put it first because according to me, it's your first job you're going to be into. So the company has to look into something which you have achieved in your past. Until now, you just have the education part which you can. After that, you can show the skills you have. Again, the reasoning would be similar. After your education, company wants to see what you know currently. Then comes the experience, work experience, wherever you have worked. That gives a credibility about your work and skills.
How to write that experience?
You have to mention the project you have done, and you have to explain it in 2-3 points what you have done in that project. It shouldn't be the story, it should be just the broad skills you have put into that project and what outcome you have got in the project.
These 3 sections in resume are usually the important one. Rest of the sections you can have a look at the product resume for inspiration. Hey guys, hope you have enjoyed this. In the next video, I have interviewed ex-Microsoft employee, founder of Boss Coder Academy on how any freshers can land a high-paying job in 2025. Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
But I see the light from far away, it's down the line. Maybe I should not give up without a fight.